Hey folks, Jay Barino here, welcome back. Thanks for joining me as we continue our way through Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. It's part of the Metroid Prime Trilogy. So we've made it to Lower Torvus Bog. Every time we start a new video and we exit the save station, we just get that terrible slowdown. So we're just going to dive right into it. Right, so we have to get up there eventually. There are 3 surrounding rooms in this area. And each one requires one of these locks to be scanned. And you need to be on the other side of them. You need to be on the proper side of them to scan them. So the first one was here at the bottom. So that's all well and good. Let's go ahead and scan one of the Bloggs. These are very irritating enemies, and there's a mini-boss Blogg that's, in my opinion, the worst mini-boss in the game, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, so let me just dive right back in. Which one did we extend? This one right here. So here is the Seeker Missile door that otherwise stops you from progressing down here. But because the water slows you down, you can't jump as high, I feel like a lot of people probably spend a ton of time down here thinking that they can go somewhere else. But you just can't. You just can't. Poof! Alright, so we're forced to kill these Bloggs down here, unfortunately. So let's dive in. So they only become aggressive when you enter a certain part of the room. So once we go far enough and you see they kind of transition and start moving faster, you have to kill them when they're charging at you. They're actually not vulnerable in any other state. So basically just have to play chicken with them. And when they get close to you, their mouth opens and you blast them. And the Dark Beam charge shot will instant kill them. A super missile also will, but like a charged power shot or normal missile will not. So you're almost inevitably going to take damage. And because we move slowly through water, we have to utilize these weird little underground pipes here to get through to each of these places.
Recording to Logbook.
Our war begins. We developed crystals that brought the light of ether to the Dark World. Using these crystals allowed our warriors to explore the enemy lands, to bring war to the Ing. Sadly, the crystals were not enough. We needed stronger weapons, better armor. We withdrew from Dark Ether while our greatest minds devised new engines of war. I'm quite enjoying reading all the lore here. I really liked the Space Pirate lore for Prime 2 as well. Sort of how they experienced getting attacked by the Ing and then Dark Samus, and then we show up. Alright, eventually there's a pretty valuable upgrade in this little transit tube. Can't get it now, though. What did the Luminoth use these for? I guess just like a logistical network, I suppose, underneath the temple. Recovering energy. We were not prepared to fight a long war. The forces of the enemy outnumbered ours vastly. We sought a way to end the war quickly, without extended combat. We decided to build a device to recover our lost planetary energy from Dark Ether. Without this energy, the Dark World would cease to be, and our world would be restored to stability. 60% of all logbook scans. Let's go, boys. So more Bloggs down here. I'm just going to dive right in, and I'll charge it up. And if one of them starts charging at me, we appear safe. Okay. That's a door type up there that we have not encountered yet. More key bearer lore. What craven savages are the Ing? Trapped in the catacombs with no chance of rescue, I fought them to the last. I watched them feed upon their dead. I heard them pressing the lesser of their number into the front ranks, that my blasts would take them. At least their leader stood against me in battle. He was a foe worthy of a Luminoth warrior. Okay, so what we've done is we've effectively made our way... I mean, there's more to do in this room, but what we've effectively done is we've opened a pathway from one of the outer rooms back to the central room. Which allows us to now scan this terminal, which we can only do from this side. And now we have to do the same with the other... There's one more room. We have to go back to that area with the revolving floor and then go the other direction. Okay, now there are blogglings. Yeah, you can only make those jumps when the platform is extended, which is why you have to do this kind of roundabout path through here. I just love the general atmosphere down here. It's so calming, but also eerie and dangerous. The music adds a lot. Okay, and now we're in the other side room, and we have to make our way back to the middle, just like previously. I think I'll probably just dive in and kill this Blogg, because he's going to cause me problems, I think, if I don't. Come on now. Here he comes. Okay, and that's a research scan, maybe a creature scan, one of those, I'm not sure. More lore. The New Terror. In time, the Ing began to possess Luminoth as well as creatures. Friends and family members became the enemy, spilling Luminoth blood across the land. Desperate, we devised shielding to prevent Ing possession. It was effective, but not perfect. Should the shielding fail, all Luminoth were prepared to self-terminate rather than become a weapon for the Ing. And I think maybe that's why we see a lot of preserved dead bodies around here. I think what's happening is they kill themselves with like what is essentially like a cyanide capsule, which is why there are traces of chemicals in their bodies, but that also keeps away the wildlife. Or that might just be the shielding that keeps the wildlife away as well. Okay, so we're gonna have to do some Dark World juggling in this room. Don't crash, game. I have faith in you. I think there are actually going to be two mini-bosses we'll fight in the video today, because they're both very close to each other. They're both kind of annoying, too. Oh, fucking great. Okay. So the dark beam doesn't instantly freeze. You can see like the bubbles sort of like wrap around the enemy and they actually do damage and then they'll freeze them. So that's why the dark pirates have a chance sometimes to start warping away, which can be frustrating because then you have to follow them and figure out where they've warped to, and then they'll be frozen in place once you figure it out. Okay, so now we can use this trans-dimensional spinner. Alright, and that's all we needed to do. We'll be doing a lot more in Dark Lower Torvus, but for now, we just need to unlock those locks in the main central chamber. Let me go ahead and flip these, because I think we have to. Please don't hit me, Blogg. Great. So all that did, by powering that from the other world, is it made this platform extend. That's it. Nothing super fancy. But that lets us get to the Morph Ball Cannon, which can launch us to the middle door to take us back to the central chamber. It's the little things in life. Alright, so let's make our way to that annoying boss that I had talked about. Hopefully it goes okay. It can be a bit of a challenge. Also, the save station is out of our reach now because we raised that whole middle platform. We cannot actually get up and out to save. So that's another reason why there's a lot to lose if you actually die on this boss. And also another reason why I went out of my way to collect some extra energy tanks as well. Almost exclusively for this specific part of the game. So these things are just especially good for farming resources, especially ammunition. I would advise not shooting missiles into like large clumps of them because I found that crashes the game. All right. So there's another exit on the other side of this room with a portal, but we can't get there yet. We're going to be coming back here a bit later in the game. We got the gravity boost. It's not its own suit this time, but it's an add-on to our existing dark suit. I kind of like how the dark suit is the suit that we wear for the majority of the game, and some of the suit upgrades actually are physically added to it. So at least the game is kind enough to give you access to the gravity boost before you have to fight this guy. Oh, I guess I should read it. Immense Blogg Pack Leader. Enormous Water Dweller will fire sonic disruption blasts at foes. It has all the strengths and weaknesses of its brethren. Sort of. I'll explain it while we're fighting it. The Alpha Blogg is the largest and strongest of its pack. It can fire potent sonic stun blasts in battle. The blasts will disrupt your visor and weapon control systems, if they hit you. Its 3 titanic maws are potent weapons. Target the creature's mouth areas to inflict damage upon it. Okay, so it's coming at me right now. I got one hit on it. So the timing to hit it and also dodge out of the way is very tight. And the reason why it's challenging is because later on, once it gets lower HP, it'll start faking you out, and like it won't actually open its mouth. It won't open its mouth. So you'll kind of be queued up to attack it, and it'll be charging at you. And then you realize you won't do damage, and then also not be able to get out of the way. I think that's where the Dark Beam comes into play. The Dark Beam does a lot of good damage against this thing. It's like there, I think maybe it didn't open its mouth. So it takes a little longer to fire super missiles. So instead, I'm going to start using the Dark Beam, and it's going to hit a point where, yeah, see, like there, it kind of faked us out. Sometimes, again, it just won't open its mouth. So I use super missiles at first to save my Dark Beam ammo, so that now I'll have enough Dark Beam ammo to be okay for when it starts faking us out a little bit. Like that one right there didn't open its mouth. So you might want to start prioritizing dodging than actually doing damage. But the super missile timing is a little too tight, I think. So that's why I think the charged Dark Beam is better. But I don't know what... Like, sometimes it opens its mouth and sometimes it doesn't. It's... You see, that time it opened its mouth. It was worth taking the hits. That time it did not. I'm not sure if maybe you have to just deal enough yellow stun damage to it to force it to do it, but the one unsaid thing about this stupid enemy is that sometimes it doesn't actually expose itself to be hit, and it like purposely fakes you out. That time it did. Doing pretty good. But I think it's random. So I'm trying to hit it with a normal charge blast, because maybe, just maybe, that affects whether it opens up or not. I don't know. But that's also why the Dark Beam is a good alternative. Just because on regular charge shot, you have a lot more of a window to hit it and dodge. Whoop. There we go. Not bad at all. So I talked through the majority of that fight. I try not to do that for most of the bosses, but I wanted to be very clear, because I think this boss can give a lot of trouble to people if they don't realize that sometimes when it charges you, it fakes you out and it doesn't open its mouth, so you won't do the damage. And in the confusion, you'll also get hit. So it's good, I think, to start with super missiles in the early attacks where it's guaranteed to open its mouth, and then transition into Dark Beam, which does a good amount of damage to it, and you can finish it up. And even if it doesn't open its mouth, then you can dodge out of the way. Actually, before we go up these stairs, I almost forgot because I was talking about the alpha blog. We want to go through this portal. We won't want to forget to do this now, because then we'd have to come back later, and it can be a bit of a pain. And there's our second Dark Temple key. And this room is totally sealed off. We can't go anywhere else. There's 2 power bomb doors on both sides. All right. There's another key piece of equipment that we can get while we're down here. Oh! All right. And now that we have the gravity boost, we get this... You actually get like a third little extra jump that's even bigger than your other 2 jumps. It's quite nice. So we want to get back to the Dark World in the outer ring of the lower Torvus Temple. Rather than going to the room where I can get to the portal, I'm going to go back through this central room first. But now we can just jump over the gate rather than having to use the spinner and all that stuff. Okay, so now they are dark bloggs. When possible, I'm not going to bother with blogs, alright? So rather than going straight to the room and deciding to come through here first is because we have access to an energy tank if we go this way. So I figured we would do this first. Oh, too early? Too late? Too late? Oh my gosh. Jay Barino, get it together. Oh my gosh. Well, at least we got the timed one our first try, so we didn't have to reactivate the bomb slot. Okay, so obviously we can only get that once we had the gravity boost. Okay. Now we're back in the room where I want to be. So the other outer room had the portal that we used to get back to the light world to the upper level with the morph ball cannon, but that room was otherwise closed off. So we had to come to this portal instead, so it all kind of worked out with the pathing to get that energy tank. And alternatively, we could just come through the central chamber through the dark door, but I went around to get the energy tank. Just ignoring these Grenchlers because they're irritating. And these are dark Grenchlers. Gives me an even better reason to just run by them. Why bother? And we are now underneath the mini-boss. Hunter Ing, another one of those enemies where if they don't lock the doors, you might as well just run by. It's not that I can't kill them, it's just it's time-consuming. So I just don't. Kind of a sneaky missile expansion there. I don't think this is research. Let's check. No. So this is actually the room that we came in to use the spinner. Oh, great. Okay. So I'm just going to hop down and kill these quickly. At least they weren't Dark Pirate Commandos, that's what I say. Great, so we needed the gravity boost to activate the second portal, which allowed us to get around to this room from a different angle, open the door, activate the platforms. Okay, so we have to fall down to the bottom of this one. I'm pretty sure there are Hunter Ing here. What I'm going to try to do is supercharge this and lure these in. There we go. So they try to possess you by floating at you. It's not that they're attracted to the crystal, it's that they want to possess me. So they go invulnerable, or untargetable rather, and then they will try to float towards you. So you can use that to manipulate them to to just roast themselves. That's kind of the whole idea. Okay. And yeah, sure, let's, again, safety save never really hurts. Though I haven't had any crashes, it really felt like we were going to have some. We had some serious stuttering at times. And I found that when it does crash, it's preceded by some pretty bad stuttering, so. Alright, so now that we're up top, we can just fall through and enter this central grate area. Target Luminoth was exposed to heavy amounts of Nohadin gas. This is the likely cause of death. Probably those preeds that are floating around. Now let's get some light beam ammo. So we're about to fight another light, or rather dark world mini-boss. The Venom Weed isn't a logbook scan for some reason. It's unclear why not. Alright, the Grapple Guardian. Grapple Beam powered Darkling. Well-armored target utilizes Grapple Beam to ensnare enemies. Weak spots detected, back, shell, and eye. Uses special attack when angered. This Darkling Grenchler has absorbed the power of the Grapple Beam. It will fire the beam to snare potential meals and pull them into its waiting jaws. The beam is powerful and can attach to most surfaces, including your armor. Its eye region is sensitive. Damage in the area can induce a state of anger in the target. A weak spot under the back shell is a prime target as well. When angered, it will use a special attack. So the main idea with this thing is shoot it in the face, you know, pretty common thing here, and then bait it into using its grapple beam, and then jump out of the way, let it bonk, and then we can hit it with a super missile. So that's how we're going to mostly deal with this. What I like to do is bait it from decently far across the room. There we go, and then we got to get behind it. Light beam would probably also work really well on the back shell. Ah, see, now this is going to be, I think, too close. That's why I try to get around quickly. If it's too close to the thing it's trying to grapple to, it won't actually connect, and then you just have some irritating problems, basically. Let's come over to this one. Fine. This boss is decently easy if you know what to do. Okay, and it's not required, but we can scan it again. You'll notice that the grapple points are now depowered. Injured grapple-powered Darkling. Target will use grapple energy to protect itself. Damage to its eye will disrupt this ability, however. Did not mean to do that. So I'm just going to go light beam now, because it's going to be pretty hard to land a super missile in any meaningful way. So actually, now I want to force it to grapple me, which stuns it. That gives you an opportunity to get behind it, or again, we can just shoot it in the eye, and it will get stunned and become vulnerable in its face, and that's it. I mean, I guess it gets a second phase because all Grenchlers do, but the second phase is just kind of strange for that, I think. Grapple beam acquired. So we can't leave through any of the side doors. Those will remain locked, actually, until we destroy them with power bombs later. Scan that for research. Cool. It's just that easy. I've scanned these, right? Yep. Always good to double check. So we need to get back to a portal. We want to get back to light ether and basically crawl our way out of lower Torvus Bog. So, several things are wrong right now. Number one, we're in dark Torvus Bog. So we need to get back to the light world first and foremost. Oh gosh. You know what, Dark Pirate Commandos? You know, maybe next time. And because we've got that extra little third boost, that's how we get out of the water relatively easily now. But otherwise, we were trapped down there until we had the gravity boost. So there's one final Dark Temple key. And it's in Upper Torvus. And we need the grapple beam to get it, which we have. I'm actually going to go this way. We need to get back to the Forgotten Bridge, and then the Dark Forgotten Bridge by extension. And this is an okay way to get there. It's not great, especially because now we have to fight these idiots. But as long as they appear in places that are easy to find them, it's not too bad. I mean, ultimately, we just need to get back to the portal. The one portal in Upper Torvus, like normal main Torvus area, which is, again, the Forgotten Bridge. The Forgotten Bridge is not directly connected to the room that lets you get to the temple, which is the Great Bridge. So it's really just, you know, what's the relatively easy way to get back there? Could take this pathway, or we could have taken the abandoned work site, which requires you to morph ball near that sporb, if you remember. That almost grabbed me, and that room can be mildly annoying, so I tend to just avoid it where possible. And here we are. Okay. Oh, look. The problem with these guys is they lock the doors, which is just such a hassle. Like, I obviously would be happy to run by them. Ooh, did I get him? Yeah, I did. Like, at the end of the day, they're not that big of a deal. And they're gonna only get easier as we get more tools later on, but I guess the the designers knew in the first game that everyone hated the Chozo ghosts, so where possible, you'd run by them. So I guess they figured, hey, I guess let's just lock the doors. Okay, let's do this. Where possible, avoid the Preeds. This is the dark version of that abandoned worksite room that I've been talking about, but this is a lot easier to navigate. Okay, so I'm actually going to make a very slight detour. The key is right there, and the temple entrance is right there. So we get the key, and then we just go into the temple and we fight the boss. But I'm actually going to make a very slight detour. This is one of those going out of my way, even though it's against my whole philosophy of optimized item collecting. And that's because the item that we're going to get is a beam ammo expansion. I feel like this is the... Anytime that there's one of these, like, sort of close by, you should absolutely go and pick them up. Please. I hate... I mean, I guess I could just kill them, but it's just... It's RNG on if they'll actually float into an energized beacon. Alternatively, you can just kill them with normal light beam shots. Both can take a lot of time. Okay, and since we're right here, I'm going to go ahead and pop through the portal. We rolled by this earlier. This is the only way to get it now. But there's nothing else to do, so we just have to go back. No, wait, come back. I'm technically in the light zone if you, like, push yourself up against the elevator enough. So now we want to go back. Again, a little bit of a detour. We have to come back through here later, much later, to get a required item. So you can combine your trips. But again, I'm going to get that beam ammo expansion where possible. So I guess let's kill this one. If we're lucky, it'll float into us. If not, I'm just going to shoot it with regular light beams. Maybe one more. Yeah. That's not too bad. Again, it's more time-consuming than is necessary. It's just they're so likely to knock you off stuff. It can be really irritating. Okay, I actually don't know where that leads, but that's fine. There's our last key. We got all the Dark Torvus Temple keys. We're right by the temple as well, which is, again, why I think that this this particular pathing is... It all works out. And a save station. I think this is a great spot to stop for today. We're right at the boss. We're going to start the next video by defeating our second Dark Temple boss, and then moving on to the third main area of the game. All right, well, I hope you're enjoying, and I'll see everyone next time. Bye-bye.